myself because I get so nervous that they wouldn't ask me to do this if they thought I didn't have something interesting to say, so hopefully. One of the questions that I was asked to consider when I was asked, and as I prepared to speak about stewardship and our Rooted in Love program was, why do you make a personal commitment to pledge to the church each year? And I think the answer has evolved a great deal through my life. But first, I'm going to start with some show and tell. This, as some of you can see, is a very old jewelry box, and it's not a very expensive one, and I don't think it ever held any expensive jewelry. But this box belonged to my mother, and when she passed away about 10 years ago, it was one of the items that I asked my siblings if I could have. Because one of my earliest memories, and definitely my earliest memory about giving to the church, started with this jewelry box. I was probably 3 or 4, and after getting dressed up for church on Sunday, which would have meant some earth tone plaid jumper with knee socks, with pockets in the jumper, I knew to go to Mom's jewelry box. And if you can see, there's a little, shelf right there that's just the size that would hold a roll of quarters. And I knew to take 2 quarters and put them in my pockets and do not lose them before church. And one of them went in the offering plate at Sunday school, and one went in the offering plate when I sat in the church service between my parents. And that was my introduction to stewardship. Now, back then, I didn't think at all about how a church uses money or what missions they support. But it did lay a groundwork about giving that I didn't question for many years. Quite simply, when you go to church, you put something in the plate. Now, I joined FCC, I figured it's about 9 years ago, as a grown-up, a wife, and a mother of 2 teenagers. I felt strongly that I'd found a church home that aligned with my values and my beliefs. And my commitment to the church, with both financial support and time, deepened much beyond that unquestioning, it's what I was brought up to do. Several years back, I was asked to be part of the Personnel and Finance Committee, and more recently, Church Council, and last year to serve as Church Treasurer. Volunteering in these roles, I've been able to forge working relationships and friendships with church members that I'd otherwise not know that well. I've also seen financial reports and budgets on a monthly basis, and at meetings heard updates from the pastor's reports on what other concerns are taking their time and attention. And it's made me see the church differently, not as a building or even a worship service, but as a living entity, a doer of work in our community, and work that is rooted in love. I see our congregation doing the work that is so broad, both locally and far-reaching, that it's pretty amazing, including, oh, that timing was good, that laughter, including teaching children about God's world, connecting teens with wholesome activities and service to others, giving to social justice agencies in our community, providing a welcome for the LGBTQ community, being a location for a voting site, a Boy Scout troop, a meditation society, and working to assist refugees and supporting teachers and literacy in Malawi. And those were just the first ones that came to mind when I wrote this about 45 minutes ago, because I always wait till the last minute. But a quick read through the monthly newsletter illustrates just how much FCC is doing. Worship, service, community building, support, and more. I give my money and some of my time because I believe that FCC makes the community a better place, which is a step to making the world a better place. I pledge that support at this time of year because I believe the work that our pastors, other staff and members do together is much, much greater than we could all do if we were doing it individually. And specifically pledging, and in my case I do set up the auto deduction from our checking account, both helps me be accountable to myself to follow through with what I say I want to give, and also because it's really easy and I don't have to think about it again. But it provides the FCC something concrete from which to budget and to plan for the coming year. I encourage each of you to give thought in the next week to the role that FCC plays in your life and to the role that it plays in the community on your behalf, and thoughtfully consider making a pledge of financial support for next year. Thank you.